The Slenderman darkness had settled over the forest, casting eerie shadows that danced in the moonlight. I found myself standing at the edge of the woods, curiosity pushing me forward despite the unease that gnawed at my gut. The wind whispered through the trees, a symphony of rustling leaves that sent shivers down my spine. I had heard the legends of Slenderman, the faceless entity that stalked those who dared to wander into his territory. But I dismissed them as mere tales, stories to frighten children around campfires. I was a skeptic, relying on logic and reason to guide my choices. Yet, as I ventured deeper into the woods, a sense of foreboding began to take hold. My flashlight flickered, casting flickering beams of light that barely pierced the thick darkness around me. Every rustle, every snap of a twig made me jump. My heart raced, a drumbeat of fear that echoed in my ears. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that unseen eyes followed my every move. A distant figure caught my attention, a tall and slender silhouette amongst the trees. My breath caught in my throat as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. It couldn't be Slenderman? No, it had to be a trick of the mind, a play of shadows and imagination. I continued on my path, desperately trying to convince myself that I was imagining things, but the figure grew closer, its outline becoming more distinct. My steps quickened, a mixture of dread and fascination propelling me forward. I had to know, had to prove to myself that this was just a hoax. As I shone my flashlight directly ahead, the truth was impossible to deny. Slenderman stood before me, his featureless face a void that seemed to absorb the very light around it. Tendrils, like shadowy arms, extended from his back, swaying gently in the breeze. The weight of his presence pressed down on me, a suffocating fear that held me in place. I wanted to run, to flee from this nightmare made real, but a strange compulsion rooted me to the spot. It was as if Slenderman's very gaze had ensnared my will, his intentions inscrutable yet undeniably malevolent. A whisper, soft and chilling, slithered into my mind. Words without a voice promising torment and terror. Images of lost souls trapped in a nightmarish existence flashed before my eyes. I knew then that I was in the presence of something beyond comprehension, a force that defied the laws of reality. My flashlight died with a final sputter, plunging me into complete darkness. Panic seized me and I stumbled backwards, my heart racing like a wild animal. The forest seemed to close in around me, the trees like grasping hands, and I knew that escape was impossible. In the midst of my desperation, I noticed something odd, a glint of white against the black backdrop of the woods. It was a piece of paper, one of 8 that seemed to be scattered throughout the area. With trembling hands, I picked up the page and shone my flashlight on it. The page was covered in disjointed words and scribbled drawings, all depicting Slenderman and the horror he brought. I turned the page over, and there, in stark black letters, were the words, "Don't look or it takes you." A chill ran down my spine as I realized that these pages held some sort of power, some connection to the entity that now pursued me. The forest, once a place of beauty and serenity, had transformed into a labyrinth of fear and death. With newfound determination, I set out to find the remaining pages. Each one seemed to lead me deeper into the heart of Slenderman's domain, and with each discovery, the feeling of being watched intensified. The pages told a story of a man driven to madness, pursued relentlessly by the entity that now hunted me. As I collected the last page, a terrible realization dawned on me. These pages were not just warnings, they were a summoning, a call to Slenderman himself. And with the final page in hand, I felt his presence draw closer, his tendrils reaching out to claim me. In a frantic attempt to escape, I turned and fled, my footsteps echoing through the forest. But Slenderman was no longer a distant figure. He was right behind me, his dark form stretching impossibly closer with every step I took. The pages, once my salvation, were now my damnation, and so my fate was sealed. As I write this, I know that Slenderman's grip on me is unbreakable. The forest has become my prison, and the pages my eternal torment. If you ever venture into these woods, heed my warning. Beware the pages, for they call forth a darkness beyond comprehension, a darkness known as Slenderman.